How do you become completely omnipresent in a sense where everybody's seeing you everywhere? There's no way they can get around seeing one of your ads on a day-to-day basis. You are always top of mind, because remember this, people don't buy from the best brand, they buy from the brand they remember the quickest. With that being said, I want to walk you through my full Google and Facebook ad strategy today to help you create omnipresence across different social platforms. If you don't yet know who I am, my name is Justin, and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, an e-commerce marketing agency helping elevate thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So we'll actually start this video on Google. Now, when it comes to Google ads, I want to walk you through how I currently use it for a lot of brands when it comes to really wanting to create that sort of omnipresence feel. Now, the criteria for you to have this work the best way is to be very active from an organic perspective. You have to have good existing traffic from at least one or two organic platforms. So this is best combined with a thriving Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or YouTube account as an example, where you do get a lot of traffic from it. So I want to show you what I would do in your account if I was in your shoes, essentially. And this is actually a strategy I'm using myself for my own business in order to create this sort of omnipresence. So when it comes to Google ads, the two campaigns you will want to create to have this omnipresence feel, one is a search, two, it's going to be a display campaign. So what you'll want to do is you'll actually want to go to tools on your Google ads account. You're going to want to go to audience manager, your data segments, and then click plus. If you happen to have a YouTube account and that is one of your leading platform in terms of engagement, then I highly recommend you create an audience based out of YouTube users. If not, then you can head over and do website visitors or custom lists. Now, what I would do is, if I was you, I would either do customer lists and or website visitors. Because as an example, if you've ever ran any lead gen campaign, or if you've ever collected emails, got leads from ads anywhere else, you can pull them into a list on your Google ads. Then second of all, you can add, of course, all of your existing customer list. And then finally, you can set up your website visitors audience. Now, the beauty with Google ads is that you can actually retarget people up to 540 days after they've taken an action, right? This is not something you can do on Facebook. And that is why I'm starting this video on Google, because Google, when it comes to retargeting and creating omnipresence, is one of the best places for you to start. So you can create an audience from people who visited a specific web page or just a URL as a whole. So it could be, as an example, your entire domain. So let's say paidadvertising.com, or it could be, as an example, a specific page. So paidadvertising.com/careers. And you can create, as mentioned, an audience up to 540 days. The caveat, you need to set this audience up and have your Google Tag Manager set up before this audience populates, so it wouldn't go back in time, right? And that makes sense if you haven't installed your tags before, let's say, listening to this video. So it wouldn't go back in time and then figure out who would have viewed your website over the past 540 days. No, it's as the time that you set this up, it will start keeping people in that audience for the next 540 days. Which is why I recommend for any business, no matter your size, you should follow what I'm talking about in this video right now, because even though you might not want to run ads today, you might want to do so in the future. So this is going to be very helpful for you when the time comes. As it says right here, if you do happen to already have your tags, then hey, it's going to be able to pre-fill it for the next. And as mentioned earlier, if you do already have the tag, then it'll only be able to pre-fill that audience from the last 30 days. So which is why, as mentioned, you need to make these audiences right now. I'll typically make audiences that have the broadest possible pool for the strategy today. So once you've made an audience of one, your website visitors, two, if you have a YouTube audience, make an audience from your YouTube account, three, make an audience with all of your existing customers or any leads data you own by, essentially, if we go back right here, making an audience, choosing customer list, and then from there, essentially uploading whatever list you currently own. And now we'll actually go create a campaign for these specific audiences. Now, this campaign we're going to create, I'm going to create a campaign without a goals guidance. I usually prefer to do that for the strategy once again. And then the first one we'll do is we'll create a search campaign. So that is actually a branded search campaign that we'll want to create. Now, you can add or remove any of the conversion goals that have already been added right here. If you are an e-commerce brand, then you should definitely have like the purchase conversion goal right here. I would most likely remove the other goals you have. If you're an agency, then you can put book appointments, whatever it is. So as an example, in this case, I've removed all my other goals and simply want to optimize for book appointments. So I'm going to click continue. And then from there, select the results you want people to get from this campaign. Well, website visits, right? Then you'll put in your website link. So as an example, right now, I'm going to head over to paidadvertising.com. I'm going to copy my URL. I'm going to put that right there. Campaign name, I'll usually call that a search brand. Then I'll click continue. Here, you'll always want to optimize for conversions. You just don't want to necessarily optimize for clicks. I mean, unless it's what you want. Most people want to optimize for conversions. Set a target cost per action. If you already have a CPA in mind, you can. I usually don't, again, for this specific strategy that I'm showing you, which is purely from an Omnipresence perspective. So I'm going to click next. So when it comes to networks, I like to disable these settings because I don't want to be seen in any of these like random websites. Trust me, I've wasted a lot of money in the past being on these like display networks. A funny little story. I mean, funny for you, probably not for me, but back then I had actually overspent $800 on some YouTube ads campaign, and I was wondering what happened to these campaigns because they weren't converting. And when I finally realized that I had spent $800 of my own money on tiny little websites like MiniClip and others that were shown to people from 65 plus during the middle of the night. So not good at all. I don't recommend. So I usually exclude those. Then you'll decide to pick which locations you want to find yourself into. So I'll usually, in my case, pick Canada, the US, and perhaps other major countries that we have right there. So usually what we do is we actually want to keep presence, so people in or regularly in your targeted locations, not necessarily people who have an interest in traveling to these locations. Language, make sure you select the right language. Now, when it comes to this brand new campaign, you don't need to select any audience segments for that matter. I'll usually leave broad match keywords off for the time being, automatically created assets off. More settings usually you don't need to necessarily touch. I mean, unless you wanted to have a specific schedule for your ads. And then from there, I'll go hit next. So now, when it comes to keywords, this is where you enter all the keywords related to your brand. Now, be mindful, the keywords that are usually there by default are not good. What I want to enter as an example for such a campaign is anything that has my brand name. So it could be, as an example, paidadvertising.com, which literally is the name of the brand. We used to be called Wizzo Media, so Wizzo Media is here. Wizzo could be one of them. Justin Lalonde, which is my name. Those are the type of keywords that I would enter, which are keywords that are directly related to the company and brand name. So let's say I was Apple, then I would probably put Apple, I'd put iPad, I'd put Mac, I'd put like my basically my usual product names that people would actually search for, and put this right here. Then if we go down, I make sure the final URL is right. Then from there, I'll actually make sure that I set up my headlines. And then if I slightly go down, I make sure I have my descriptions. And then finally, if I go all the way down, I go next. Budget, which I usually select the budget, probably $5 to $10 a day just to begin, and then hit review and launch. That's about it for this search campaign. The rest is very straightforward, so I'll leave you up to it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to create a campaign. We're going to go to campaign right here. Then we're going to go, once again, create a campaign without a goals guidance. We're going to create a display campaign as of right now. Now, what is a display campaign and why should you care? This is where Omnipresence come in. When it comes to the first campaign I showed you, it's just to make sure you're top of mind. Now, if my name as a business is, let's say, paidadvertising.com, and you are another agency out there and you're bidding for keywords that are saying paid advertising, or you're bidding for other keywords that are, let's say, saying paidadvertising.com, I have more authority than you do, because my domain name actually is paidadvertising.com, because I have many keywords on my website that relate to that word. So therefore, Google will usually favor me with the lowest cost per click, and I'll win more bids, essentially, which is the same reason if you're Apple, right, and you're bidding on keywords that are, let's say, saying Samsung, well, Samsung, who owns a domain that says Samsung, and they have a lot more keywords on the website related to Samsung, they'll usually be able to win these bids at a lower cost. So this is great so that you are top of mind when any of your potential customers are searching you up. You're the first to basically pull up on there. You're above any of your current competitors, and that makes you, once again, top in the search results. Now, a display campaign, what does that do is that on any of these random websites, have you ever been on these websites or blogs when you see banners on the side? You see like ads when you're reading, let's say, a news article, or you're on a blog post and you're seeing it again, ads imbricked in the text. Those are display ads. Or let's say, again, you're playing a little game at nights in your bed and an ad pops up. This is, again, a Google display ad. This is where your ads can show up pretty much anywhere. This is the true definition of omnipresence. You're on different websites, apps, so on and so forth. So this is where we start really speaking about doing this omnipresent strategy. So as talked earlier, what I would do right here is remove the goals that I don't want. So in this case, if I don't want contacts, blah, 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 I remove them. If I don't want lead forms, I remove them. I click continue. I put my website, which let's just say right here is paidadvertising.com, campaign name, whatever it is. I click, whatever that is. I put it right there, location. Make sure that you actually select specific locations. In my case, I'd put, let's say, just Canada. But if you wanted more, I would enter more as an example right here. So I could put Canada, and then I could put, let's say, the UK, and then boom, I've got my 2 countries. Languages, I'll keep that as is. Settings, once again, if you want to optimize to be only shown at specific times of the day, I typically don't for a campaign like that. So I'll hit over next as of right now. Now, my daily budget, I would again put just $10 to start. It's honestly enough for you to start. So let's say we put $10 right here. Goal, always conversions. I want to maximize conversions as of right here. And then I'll hit over to next. Now, this is where targeting becomes important. This is where the segments that we made earlier, this is where we actually want to retarget people with that. Because the goal with this strategy is for you that if somebody falls into your funnel, and that's why I said earlier, this is best paired with an organic or a paid social strategy. Because if people end up already searching you because they've seen your TikToks, they've seen your Instagram posts, they've seen your YouTube videos, they've seen your Facebook ads, they've seen your TikTok ads, then as soon as they take action, whatever this action is, if they submit a lead form or if they hop and just click on your website, they are in for 540 days. Once again, they're in it for the next roughly 18 months. So this is why we want to have that. So what we want to do is make sure that if somebody sees one of your posts once and takes any action that is on your website, they will start seeing you everywhere, constantly, every day. And that way, again, you stay top of mind. And chances are, if they see one ad and they start seeing like all of these ads on Google Display, at some point they'll probably click again. And if they click again, well, there's a higher likelihood they'll either convert. And if they don't convert, then because they've clicked again, the counter essentially resets, the timer kind of resets, and they're in for another 540 days in that audience, and their intent grew, so they're going to be more targeted, which also means usually Facebook and TikTok picks up on that and will show more content of yours to that audience, and so on and so forth. So now you're going to want to click on audience segments. You're going to want to search up the audiences that we created earlier, or simply select them right here. So let's say I could select those right there. And then from there, that's my targeting, right? Is anybody who is within that segment. Unless, again, you want to narrow it down further. We've already narrowed it down earlier by selecting the country. But let's say you want to be certain that potentially there's duds on your website and you don't want them to be seeing your ads over and over again. So you could actually combine different segments. So I could, let's say, pick all my YouTube subs, and then I could go to ad targeting and then select demographics. So I could put all my subs, but only actually pick, let's say, male between this and that age. And then as earlier, I picked Canada and the UK. So only people in that country who are YouTube subs of mine and are male within 1 and 1 age, they're going to get my ads. I typically, once again, don't do that. Anybody who is within that audience will start seeing my ads everywhere. And then you head over to the next phase, which is ads creation. You make sure, again, your business name is there. You make sure your final URL is right there. And then from this is when you add your images. So you'll have to pick your logo up right here. And then you'll have to pick essentially different images that you want to show up. I typically will put, in my case, images of myself and myself with my business name. So my face with paidadvertising.com, because that's what I want people to associate me and the business, so that if they've seen me, which chances are they have, because I'm the one doing the content, so they've seen me and I want them to start associating my face with the business, so that at some point they end up becoming a customer. And with that being said, that is a good time to tell you, if you are looking for a Google/Facebook and TikTok ads agency for your e-commerce business, click the link down below and book in a call to speak with our team today for our done for you ads management services. Now, to get back into the video right here, I would, once again, if you're a personal brand, pick photos of yourself. If you are an e-commerce brand, pick photos of your most popular products, essentially, or some of the pieces of content people might have seen the most on other platforms. So I would design my ads, make the headlines, make the descriptions right here, and then finally go next, review, launch. So that's it for Google ads. Now, when it comes to Facebook ads, the strategy that I have right here is similar in a sense to a Google display campaign. So there used to be a strategy that was coined by Jeremy Haynes, another great marketer out there, called Venus flytrap, which I think it's still useful to use it today in some specific cases, especially if your goal is omnipresence. So one of the ways that I would do a Venus flytrap simply is the following. I would actually pick a conversions campaign. So if I'm an e-commerce business, I would pick a conversions campaign right here. So right here, I wouldn't do an Advantage Plus because I don't want to go broad. Again, I want to retarget. I would go manual sales campaign, click continue, let that load up. When it comes to my campaign, I would do like an Advantage campaign budget, usually again, roughly $10 a day is usually great to start. Then from there in my ad set, I would maximize my number of conversions. I would pick the pixel. I would make sure this is at website. So now when it comes to my audience, if I scroll all the way down right there, I would want to make sure I've done the same thing as I've done on Google, which is create segments of people that in that case interacted with my Facebook page, interacted with my IG account, or I could also create an audience, let's say of anybody who's viewed videos. So what I would do is click right here. And then if let's say the audience that I want is not already been created right here, I would click create new. For the example that I just mentioned, let's just say I would go Instagram account, I would click next, then I would click my own account, everybody who engaged with this professional account, as an example, 365 days, which is the max you can do on Facebook. Give it a name, create an audience. So the audiences that I recommend you do is IG, so Instagram, anybody who engaged with this account for 365 days, the same thing with your Facebook page, and then you would do it with your video views. So it'd actually go back right here, I'd go to meta source, I would click video, and then make sure that I select anybody who's viewed any of my videos. And then finally, same thing with the website. I would want to create for the website, basically anybody who's ever visited my website as an example. Now I add all of those as custom audiences right here. So in that case, I already do have them on my side. So let's just say I'll put my website visitors. Then I'll put my, let's say IG all engagement. Let's say from both of my pages. So this one too. Then I'll book Facebook right here. So all of my Facebook engagement, let's say personally, whatever. So I stop it there. I make sure my location's right, my age is right. The same thing I've done with Google Display. And this is where it becomes interesting. So in my case, what I would do is I would then open up my Instagram. I would go to profile. I would go to my reels. Then I would check out which are the organic posts, which is again, why going back to the start of this video, why this is best paired up with an existing organic strategy. I would look at which assets that I post organically that perform the best. So I would scroll a little bit and see like, all right, this one seemed to have done the best over the last couple of weeks. So I would open that in a new tab. Then I would keep scrolling. Let's say this one's actually did pretty good. Perfect. So what I do is I go right here. I select the post ID at the top. I go back right here when I make a new ad. So I'll go down. I'll select my own account. I'll click use an existing post, select the post. Then I'll make sure I'm on Instagram. I'll basically paste whatever I just copied from Instagram right here earlier. So I would have selected my posts right here. And now as I've selected the post that I wanted, I would basically make an ad from it, just like a regular ad. The reason why I decided to go with that route is because, again, we're doing omnipresence play right here. We want to be everywhere. We want to be top of mind. So I would use some of my best performing organic reels and then push them as ads because one, that helps organically because again, there's an organic post. Therefore, that post starts getting more engagement. It might even get more picked up by the algorithm now that we've done something like this. But most importantly, it's to use these pieces that don't scream ads. They don't scream buy now, even though I would give them a call to action right here. So I would give them a call to action the same way I would for any other ad, which let's say in this case, if my goal is shop now, then I would actually do, let's just go up right here. So I would actually go down, pick shop now, put on whatever like websites URL it is and blah, blah, blah. You know the gist of it. The same thing as a regular ad, but I do that with an organic post. Again, to not scream ad, to add some variety in my ads and to make sure that I combine organic and paid together, which that's called the Venus flytrap actually, because if you do that, when it comes to videos, then I could actually create another segment of my audience, which is only picking the video viewers from such videos and retarget them with like actual conversion ads that I've crafted, designed specifically to convert people. But again, that's not the point of this video. So the point of this video, to recap, it's to create omnipresence with your ad strategy. You want people to view you everywhere. The ways that I do so: Google branded search campaign, Google display campaign that is aimed to retarget anybody who's interacted with your business for the last 540 days. I do a quote unquote Venus flytrap with Facebook ads where I create a campaign on my organic posts and it would later on retarget these people essentially with some more conversion based ads. And the same strategy could be applied to TikTok where you would run a spark ad essentially from any of your organic posts, once again to kind of spike up your sales, but also keep doing it from an organic perspective. So I hope this helped. I've been running this own strategy myself for my own agency and business for the last couple of years. It's worked great to remain top of mind, and I hope it can work for your business too. I now invite you to check out other videos of the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips. And if you are an e-commerce business owner wanting to work with a paid ads partner, click the link down below and book in a call with our team. So I'll be seeing you in next video. Peace.